What is your expectation of returns coming from US equities, say, over the next 3 to 5 years? And another question linked to this is, when we are talking of international funds, is it largely US centric right now, or are there other countries where also there are good stories and funds available and indices available which one can look at, or is it largely US centric right now?
So they're the best performing fund right now of the last 1 year in terms of international equities is actually a Greater China Offshore Fund. Now there are multiple reasons why you might say China will rebound or not come back or come back or something like that. But essentially Chinese companies are Chinese. They are, for the most part, in the sense that they are in China. They address, some of them address the Chinese market. They are not truly international from any meaningful perspective, right? So because there are lots of Chinese products which are very well used inside of China, but hardly known of outside. uh, Alipay perhaps is an example of one that's known outside. Lots of internal systems within China that don't make it across the globe. On the other hand, a Google, a Microsoft, Facebook, WhatsApp is usable. In fact, almost all of the world except for China. So you're getting a larger footprint in terms of access. I also feel that there are other kinds of funds which will go and target specific, specific nature. For instance, gold miners, international funds, which I think from DSP, they have a fund that actually goes and says we'll invest in the guys who mine the gold out of the ground, so that when the gold prices go up, they make money. So your indirect bet on gold. But such thematic specific bets are very useful for coffee table conversations. They're not great for actual underlying investments longer term. I just feel that simplicity is better. Just use say a Nasdaq today is the only investment you have in the mutual funds or the S&P 500. I think on an index basis that you can buy from Motilal. But you get access to a significant part of the US market and a significant part of the world technology market. The world, say S&P 500 has Walmart, which is now one of the world's largest physical retailers. The Nasdaq 100 has Amazon, which is the world's largest online retailer. You got Netflix, you got Zoom, you got Tesla, and even the Nasdaq 100 isn't only tech. They have a company that makes yoga pants or yoga clothes called Lululemon. There is a bunch of tech and non-tech companies, and these are one of the reasons why. I mean, if you look at the mushrooming of tech in the world, and look at COVID, the reason why a lot of these companies will continue to make profits is because people are going to use more technology, not less. The back orders now for laptops, for Windows machines are now significantly higher than they were before COVID, because now suddenly realized if you need everybody to work from home, you've got to get equipment. So you're going to get a lot more people working from home, a lot more orders all over the world. These are the companies that will benefit, because if you think about it seriously, our application interfaces are the ones that things that we use. Everything's either Android, Apple, an iMac, Windows, Office, Excel. All of these are listed in the US. So we do have alternatives, but none of them have reached any significant size. So I feel the idea of international investing should be now a part of our psyche. In a sense, we're not India only by nature. We use products that are worldwide in nature. Why shouldn't our investing also be worldwide in nature? It's not like we're the only thing that we care about today is clothes or soaps or watches or coal or iron ore or maybe even cars. We do a lot more than that, and that all that the more part is still available to us in the form of the US. It's the form of a mutual fund, so it's very easy for us to be able to invest even small amounts. Now, an average share of say, I don't know, Amazon is nearly $2,000. $2,000 in India is 1.5 lakh rupees per share. The highest cost of any Indian share is MRF, which is what, 66,000 rupees, and hardly any retail investor buys that. So because we're scared of the fact, and plus if you have only 10,000 rupees, you can't buy an Amazon in a meaningful way. So you're going to wait for 15 months before you kind of buy an Amazon or one share of it. So that, I think, is also another reason why the mutual fund approach works, because you invest smaller amounts, they aggregate it, pool it together and then go and buy maybe 100 shares of Amazon, split across 5,000 people. You're okay with that. So the structure lends itself to a much easier investing process through the mutual fund route. And the return expectations from the US, and I say this with no regret whatsoever, is I don't know. So the answer really is I can't predict Indian returns, I can't predict US returns, but what you do is you say the probability of your making money is to be with the winners, if you may. And the winners of the worldwide tech world are all listed in the US. So you, at least for the most part, you can choose China as well. That's some tech players that have done well that are listed there. But the best of them, so Alibaba, for instance, still has a US arm that's listed, or US ADR that's listed. Some of our own Indian companies, Infosys and a bunch of others, Wipro as well, they are listed in the US in the form of ADRs as well. So the US market does give you an access to a lot of good companies worldwide, some of which are in the indexes. And the return characteristic now will be based on how the world evolves from here. Apple, despite its massive size, is at a lower PE, price to earnings ratio today, than perhaps a lot of companies we think very highly of, like Titan or Hindustan Unilever or things like that, and they're growing at a faster pace. Their products have more acceptance worldwide. Their customers stand in line overnight to buy their products. When did you last hear that of a Titan showroom, for instance? Even that doesn't even happen on Akshaya Tritiya for the most part. But people do that for Apple products, despite the incremental improvement in the next thing being like maybe a slightly fancier looking camera. They will still stand in line and then discard their current phone and buy something else worth a fairly large amount of money. Now, if you have a product like this, and you want to be an investor, that's the kind of product you want to buy. So the returns perspective, if I look at it from a comparative standpoint, India, US, other countries, I think the US stands a better chance to give us great returns in the future, even if there's no rupee depreciation at all. If everything is equal, the rupee depreciation adds another layer of maybe 1 or 2% extra returns per year coming in the future. So I won't say anything beyond that, because I think expecting returns or predicting even positive returns in the longer term is not a good thing. What you have to do is react. If things change from where we are today, if there is a world war or something like that, then of course your investing strategy should change. It will not be easy to predict. But what I do say is keep part of your, putting all your eggs in the India basket is one thing. But if some eggs are in the US market, I feel that your blended return will be higher than anything you do in India itself.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you very much, Deepak Shenoy, for joining me and sharing your thoughts with our viewers. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Vic. Lovely to be here.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.